Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Welcome to Be My Guest. Today we have right from Milford, which is right nearby, we have Ed Motuza and his wife Joan Motuza. And Ed and Joan are co-leaders of the Compassionate Friends organization. And I had not heard of this until I read the wonderful article. It was in the 50 Plus Advocate in August, and it said the Compassionate Friends of Metro West, a place to go after losing a child. And they're going to share with you the story of their son who passed away. And it's pretty remarkable. Welcome.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing is great. Would you first share your story about your son, and then we'll talk about Compassionate Friends?
Sure. My son was 31 years old when he passed. He died of liver failure. As far as getting involved with Compassionate Friends, right after his passing, we got a letter from the Compassionate Friends and asked us if we'd like to attend a meeting in Shrewsbury. And I looked at it and I said, no way. I'm not going to share my grief with anyone I don't know. And I just threw it away. And after a couple of months, a friend of Joan's lost a daughter in an automobile accident, and she was going to Compassionate Friends in Holliston and suggested that she should go.
So there are branches all
over the country.
Yeah, right.
Oh, actually, it's international.
Internet, yeah.
And I didn't want to go, but she wanted to go, so I just went to support her. And I went and I didn't say anything. I just listened. But they said listening is probably the best thing, because you really can't talk about your child when you're early in grief.
Sure.
So what they said was listening is good for it, and I did listen. And it wasn't that bad. The people there were very warm and friendly, and they all had lost a child. So they knew what I was going through and what Joan was going through. And we kept going back. After a while, I started talking about Scott, and they welcomed me to talk about Scott, and that made me feel real good, that someone will listen, that I could talk about him.
All children of all ages, right?
Yes.
Right. Now Scott was 31.
He was 31.
And the parents who are losing children to cancer or something much younger.
Automobile accidents, drug addiction, I mean the whole thing.
Yeah, get suicide, drug addiction.
Yeah.
Ed and I were just talking about that. I look at the obituaries on Sunday. I look to see the ages, and then I also look down if they're younger than 75, 70. I like to find out, in lieu of flowers. That's often how you can find out what somebody passed of, because of the American Cancer Society. It just sort of helps me understand what is the biggest killer out there. But with the kids, your son was a kid, 31.
Yeah, he wasn't married. He loved sports. He was a hockey coach. He loved coaching kids. He always said, "Give me a team with kids can't skate and they don't know hockey, because I'd like to teach them how to play it."
And was it liver cancer that took him?
No.
Just failure.
Did he know? Did he have any symptoms at all?
Well, he had pancreatitis in high school.
Yeah.
And he suffered through that for a few years.
Yeah. Did he go to Boston for treatment, or up to UMass?
UMass.
They're great. Yeah. And we have so much to talk about. Now, Compassionate Friends is all over America, right?
We've got over 660 chapters in the United States alone.
So around here, in this area,
there's about 15 chapters in Massachusetts.
Where do you know the towns? Holliston?
Holliston. There's one down.
There's two at the Cape, I believe.
Two Upper Cape and Lower Cape.
Okay.
Springfield. There's Greater Boston, north of Boston, South Shore.
Dudley.
Yeah, Dudley, Webster Dudley.
Yeah.
So there are a lot.
Yeah. You're covering a lot.
Yeah.
You can't have one a group like towns next to each other.
Oh, okay. They got to be a little bit spread out.
Yeah.
Is it in Connecticut? And
Yep.
it's
throughout the whole world.
Yeah.
How long ago was it founded? Do you know?
It was founded in 1968 in England.
England.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Reverend Simon Stevens. He was a a chaplain at a hospital in Coventry, England, and there was a boy named Kenneth Lowry that got hit by a car. He was riding his bike, and he ended up in the hospital, and they didn't hold too much hope for him. And the chaplain met with the parents, and eventually, a couple of days afterwards, Kenneth died.
Yeah. And how old was he again, Ed?
He was 7, I believe.
7 years.
Yeah. And
They
someone else.
They introduced that family to another
one that had lost a
and
child.
And then it
That's
grew.
how-
And it
Yeah,
grew.
and he suggested that they have tea together.
Yeah. How did it get to America?
Oh, that's people that were in England that heard about it
These.
brought the theory back to the United States, and that was back in 1971.
Okay.
All right, and
It's been around a long.
Phil Donahue. You remember Phil Donahue? Talk show?
Yeah.
He brought a person in to talk about Compassionate Friends on his show,
Yeah.
and it just kind of just went boom, it exploded because there was such a need.
Yeah. I
with
wonder if
parents.
Oprah's done that. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
She should do. This is something that Ed and Joan had sent me. They actually have this wonderful newsletter, the Compassionate Friends of Metro West. You are invited. I missed this one. Well, there's one coming up on October 17th. Where is that again? I've got it here.
In Holliston.
Let them know.
Yeah, in Holliston.
St. Mary's Parish Center.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That is Route 16, which is Washington Street, right?
Yes.
In
Yeah.
Holliston at 7:30,
7:30, right.
about 9:30.
Yeah, usually we stop at 9 o'clock, and we kind of have a little social gathering. As far as it's our meetings are not really super structured,
Yeah.
but we allow everyone to talk, but no one's talking over one another. We have facilitators that kind of.
So no inter-talking.
No,
Let
right,
someone talk and
right.
be quiet.
But
But a
then-
crosstalk, that's what it's called.
Yeah, and what happens is that at 9 o'clock we break up, and supposing you came to your first meeting and you lost a child of cancer, say, and I lost a child by cancer, I would gravitate towards you so we can compare
Yeah.
and talk, because we've gone through the same kinds of things, the chemo, the whatever we had to go through.
And if somebody lost a child through a drug overdose,
Same
or
thing.
anything
Yeah.
like that.
Same thing.
Of like pancreatitis, liver,
Yeah.
that type of thing. People actually write into your newsletter, and they share, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In memory of my son, Mark, thought for the day. Do you actually compile this, or is this the one that's international?
The national office has a database, and I draw from that database.
You draw from it.
And what I try to do is tailor the newsletter to our chapter.
Yeah.
Like recently, we had father talking about he's a stepfather, and his stepson died, and what he was going through with the rest of the family.
Yeah, right.
I found an article in the next newsletter of a father that's was a stepfather and what he was going through. So I put that in, and because I'm thinking of this.
So when somebody goes to a meeting, they can pick up a copy of this?
We send them out.
You just send them out anyway?
I send them out. I send out about 250 every 2 months, regular mail, and I got about maybe at least 300 through emails all over the country.
I think you sent me by email.
Yeah.
And I ran it off at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot of good pages. I
Yeah.
mean, it goes the sibling corner.
Yeah.
And what's that all about?
Well, the siblings have their own grief to carry.
Yeah.
They don't have the same as their parents, and they're kind of neglected.
Well, they're called the silent mourners.
Only because everyone comes up to them and they say, "How's your mother and father doing?" And they never ask,
How are you doing?
Right.
Mhm.
They care. I understand too that a sibling can carry a form of grief. Not grief. I'm sorry. Guilt.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
That they think that for some reason they're responsible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, it's a different kind of a grief that they have,
Mhm.
but it still needs to be addressed. And through that we try to address it.
Do many children ever, like siblings, show up at the meetings?
Occasionally, matter of fact, right now we have well, she's married, but her brother passed away, and she stepped forward and said, I see what you're doing. I think it's great. I'd like to start a sibling group to tag on to you.
That's great. That is, so do you get the word out to hospitals?
I'm tied in with Milford Hospital.
You get to UMass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're terrific.
I'm tied in with mostly all the undertakers in town,
Oh.
in the area.
Mr. Peterson down the street too, here in
I
Upton?
did at one time, but sometimes you don't know whether they really read it, they know what it is, or they toss it.
Yeah.
And we postage costs money. It costs money to run a chapter.
Yes, definitely. If you have business, your business cards are great.
Yeah.
Your business cards, sometimes, if you don't think they're reading your email, go there. Hi. And then would you maybe, how in the funeral parlor they'll have little
Yeah,
tables on
yeah,
the side.
yeah.
Would you be willing to just post these? You're not making any money out of it, so it's not
No,
that.
no.
Just say, this might be helpful to people.
Well, I
Yeah.
did when I first started. I went to all the funeral homes.
You did.
And I talked to them, and I gave them a newsletter. I said,
What do you think? What do you think?
I think that the ones that I know in Milford, there's about 4 funeral homes in Milford that I sent to,
Yeah.
and I've been sending them to them for years and years and years. The other ones I've sent to them. I've also sent this past spring. I kind of wrote a letter to them and explained what our chapter is all about. What
Did you
we
hear
do.
back?
Not a one.
You went in person also, too.
I went to yes.
Does it make sense to me? Joan, does it seem a little wacky to you that this is fantastic. A funeral parlor is an ace place to
Yeah.
have this information.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
although as a whole in the state,
Yeah.
I've been invited to their conferences in Boston.
Have you gone? Did you go?
Oh yeah, I went and I talked.
Yeah.
So my feeling is that funeral directors know about us. They know about Compassionate Friends, but they really don't push it and talk about it. Which is
All they
sad.
have to do is leave a card or a
Yeah.
little something
Right.
there.
Yeah.
I think that bamboozles my mind because of all play, and then of course hospitals, there's hospices.
I do that.
Hospice.
Every hospice that comes to the senior center
Yeah.
when I'm there,
Yeah.
I always make sure I give them a card and ask them if they want to be put on my mailing list.
Now this is grieving the loss of a child.
Yep.
Is that just for the loss of a child or for another adult?
No,
just for
children, grandchildren,
Grandchildren.
and siblings.
Okay. How do people? This is terrific. How do people reach you, Ed and Joan?
Well,
Word of mouth with some of it.
Yeah.
And
If they want to come to a meeting or they're more curious, how would they reach you?
well, too, they also call the national office. They tell them where they live, and they go, okay, this is the nearest one to you, and connect them to call us.
And I think, did you give me a business card?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Here it is, right here. The Metro West chapter of the Compassionate Friends. And would you like me to give you your phone?
I could, yeah.
Sure, 508-473-4239. And
Email.
go ahead. What is it?
It's Headley, HEADLY, @Comcast.net.
And if we don't answer the phone, we have
Leave
an
a
answering
message.
Leave a
machine.
message, and you will get back to
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
This is a great part of it too. This is something that's right. Communication with other people and reaching out. You have a section called Phone Friends.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, we have people that come and say, gee, how can I help?
Yeah.
And I said, would you be willing to listen to a newly bereaved parent?
Yeah.
And sometimes they say, no, I can't deal with my own grief,
Sure.
But other people, as they get beyond the initial war grief, say, yeah, I like to, if someone wants to call me and talk about their son in a specific way, they'll do it. So that's how that came about.
Writing a memoir writer and doing posthumous memoirs about people, it not only honors the person who passed away, it's the story, but it's good to share it, I see it from that point of view, with other people so that they can learn from your grief and your experience. They're not alone.
Yeah, and we don't tell them what to do. We tell them what worked for us.
Right. That sounds like Al-Anon. That is wonderful. We
Yeah.
don't tell you what to do.
Right.
What do they say? You keep the focus on yourself and we make suggestions.
Yeah.
We don't tell you what to do.
Right, because we're not counselors.
No. How many people come to the meeting you go to?
Well, last
The
Tuesday night,
nighttime?
a week ago Tuesday night, we had 28 people come to our.
That, for you know what, in this day and age for a group, from what I've seen, that's really
We had
good.
three new couples came.
Sometimes at other groups I go to for different things, just curiosity, you might have 6, 4,
Yeah.
28.
Yep. And that's pretty. It's usually runs between 20 to 30 people.
That is,
Uh,
and now it's held in the St. Mary's over in Holliston.
Yes.
Is it a hall
Library.
downstairs or?
No, it's in the library. The library.
We just put up a bunch of chairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because one of the churches I know has a downstairs, well, most of
Yes,
them.
but they do. The St. Mary's does too.
They do
In
too, yeah.
Holliston, They
Yeah,
have
that's where it
downstairs.
is. And then is it like a snacks afterwards? You talk?
Yeah, we have someone. We ask someone to
somebody.
be if they would take care of the snacks for the next meeting.
Joan, when you saw, where did you first see Compassionate Friends advertised? It made you want to go and have Ed come with you.
It was a friend of mine, her sister-in-law, that called me about it. And then another friend of one of our younger sons who lost a brother told us, and we decided to go.
Did you go first alone, or did you finally get Ed to go?
Never went alone.
No, so you went with Ed together.
Yeah.
I bet when you first went in, you were like, "Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
not too
You
sure
sit
about-"
there and listen.
Yeah, different stories. People who are sharing.
Yes.
Well, that, and you meet people there that you knew and never knew they lost a child.
Really.
Yeah.
And from locally, were you at the Holliston or the Shrewsbury one?
Holliston.
You went to the Holliston
Yeah.
one. How long has that branch been there?
That branch has been. It started in 1974,
Wow.
and it's run since then without a break.
Well, now it started in England in 1971, you said, right?
No, 68.
68.
Yeah, it came
So-
over to 71. Came over to the United States.
Do you know where it came to first?
It was somewhere in Florida.
We're talking with Ed and Joan Motuza of Milford, and they run a branch of the Compassionate Friends of Metro West, and they're co-leaders. And if you've lost a child, okay, this is for parents who've lost a child. If you're a sibling, you've lost a sibling, this is the place to be. You know, at first, like you were sharing your story, it's like, oh, gee, I don't know if I want to be here. I don't, I think my father and mother went to a group similar to this, and my father couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't. He said, I made him too sad.
Right.
But not everybody feels that way.
No.
It's mostly women.
Yeah.
There are some men that come.
And it is mostly women for their children, that
Yeah.
passed away. What do you say? I see a lot of on these age groups here, phone friends. And it says they lost children 18, 19, 27, 29, and then of course Scotty was 31.
31. Yeah.
They all seem to be in my son's age group.
Mm-hmm.
It runs from people that lost babies through premature birth,
Yeah.
all the way up to people that are in their 60s and 60s anyway,
Yeah.
that have passed.
This is one, again, with this this pamphlet that you put out, the newsletter every month. Now I've got this.
No, it's not-
September to October.
Not every month.
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if you connect with Joan and Ed, they can make sure you get this, either
Yes.
by mail, snail mail, or email.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you get a copy, you just copy it right off, is which I did. And there's a lot of good pages here. I didn't even count them, but it
It's
has
12 pages.
12. Okay, support resources. You even have TCF online chat rooms. What is
Yeah.
that?
TCF National Office has a online chat room
Yeah.
where you can go on, but they advertise when it's going to be open. It's not open 24 hours.
Okay.
But when it's open, you can go on and you can talk about it. It's almost like having a meeting,
Yeah.
but it involves everyone over the whole country.
Well, it's got, my gosh, it's got everything from babymoms.com,
Yeah.
baby steps, alivealone.org. Boy, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Jeff's Place, griefnet.org. I mean, these are just a few. Grief questions. If you have questions, you would call, and it has the name of the person to call.
Yeah.
I assume that's at the headquarters, the
Yes.
main group too. This is like a tsunami of information.
Yeah, well, when you call the national office, they will send you a big packet of information that we don't have to mail to people.
Okay, so you don't have, so all right. And then you have Happy Halloween, there's a section called Tributes, Gifts, and Donations.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Well, people understand that we don't we operate, but we need money to continue. I mean, our stamp bill every 2 months is like $160, $180 just on
It's
stamps.
a non-profit, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So we always need money. We always need office supplies, and people like to send in money on their child's anniversary
Sure.
and their birthday, because they love to see their names in the paper, in the newsletter.
You know, when you look in a regular newspaper and you see the pictures like a tribute in the funeral section, you know, I always wondered, what did that mean? Is it the year the person died or when they're born, and to the present? I think when they passed away.
Probably, yeah.
And then sometimes they'll have a picture and a
Yeah.
little tribute.
See, I don't have. I could do that. A lot of chapters do that,
Yeah.
but then that takes up room. It takes up. I think it's a wasted room, because I think the stories are more important than someone that doesn't know who this child is.
Right.
It just takes up space on a newsletter.
Right. I think that you're right about the stories, and the more you can get people to share,
Yeah.
better. This is the chapter information. They list, of course, Ed and Joan as the co-leaders. You have a secretary, Joan.
Joan,
Okay,
of
I'm
course.
looking right at her. Treasurer, webmaster,
Yeah.
librarian, Ed. What do
Yeah.
you do as a librarian?
Well, we have a library. When we would go to national conferences, they always had a bookstore there,
Yeah.
and I would pick up some books that I think would be appropriate to our chapter.
Yeah.
So, over the years, we've built up a substantial library. We store the books in a big tub at the church. They allow us to give us room to store it,
Sure.
and we pull it out. I pull it out every meeting, set it up on a table, and the books are there to be read. They could take them home. We don't ask to bring them back right away.
You could borrow it.
They borrow them.
Can you buy it?
No,
No?
no.
No, just borrow it.
Just
Yeah.
borrow.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were getting, people would come take a book, and we didn't see the book after
It
that.
got legs.
Well,
It never
what,
came
what
back.
happens is they forgot
they
where it came
forget.
from.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
a lot of people will give you books
Yeah.
to think that will help, and they do a lot. But so I just put like the little tag on each book. It says borrowed from Metro West Compassionate Friends.
Good idea.
So they know where it came from, and it's a chance to have them come back.
Who were the senior advisors, Rick and Peg Dugan? What did the senior advisors do?
Rick and Peg were probably the longest chapter leaders in the history of Metro West.
Of the Compassion
Of
Friends, Metro
Compassionate
West,
Friends,
right.
yeah. And they, their age caught up with them, and they've kind of like stepped down.
down.
Yeah.
And
But-
you even have a steering committee.
Of course, how can we do things? I can't do it all. I'm not like the president, you know.
You're supposed to be the president. You even have the chapter address. They give it. It's
Yeah.
20 Metro West chapter, 26 Simmons Street, Milford, Mass. And this is the
Simmons.
Compassionate Friends of Metro West.
Simmons Drive,
Simmons Drive.
Yeah.
Where is Simmons Drive? Where's
It's
that?
up in the Ridgewood section.
up near Woodland School. It's all college streets.
Okay. I know. I know where the main drag is, and I know
You
where the
know,
library is.
you know where Highland Street is?
If you go out 140, go up Asylum Street and in the
Asylum
back.
Street. Yes, I know that.
In the back.
It's up in the
Oh, it's
back
not
of the
far.
No.
It's not far. I have a friend who lives down. Okay. So it's located down there, and you have a regional coordinator in Middleborough.
Yes. He takes care of all the New England states. If we have a problem,
Mhm.
we talk to him about it,
And he can help you.
and he
out.
can help, yeah.
Ed and Joan, if somebody, again, wants to attend a Compassionate Friends of Metro West or just talk to you, how do they reach you?
By phone, 508-473-4239. They can email me at Headley, Headly, @Comcast.net. And that's pretty much it. Oh, they can write to me. My address is 26 Simmons Drive, Milford, Mass. 01757-1265.
And it said, this is a wonderful newspaper article in August in the 50 Plus, and it said, Ed is also in charge of the outreach program. which consists of sending out cards.
I send out,
The anniversary.
You actually take care of, you know that the anniversary of the loved one's child's death, and you
Yes.
send it to the family.
yes.
You send out cards and special newsletters to the bereaved, and to support them in any way possible to achieve better physical and emotional well-being. If you see, well, how else do I say it? If you see somebody come to a meeting like this, and they're burning out, and with depression, do you know how to go, do you go up to them and say, look, I know where you need help, or I know that where I can send you, or anything?
Well, it's strange you should ask that, because last week we got a phone message of a lady from church in Marlborough, and she said that she had just talked to a couple who lost their daughter. They had lost their daughter, and they need help bad. And I looked up and I found your name, and
Right.
could you call them?
Yeah.
And I said, well, it was just a message, so she left all the information.
Yeah.
I went on the internet, found the parents, found the obit. I had the obit, as a matter of fact. But they were burying their daughter this Sunday. And I said, I'm not gonna call them before they even bury
This
their
upcoming
daughter.
Sunday?
This
Sunday?
past Sunday.
How old was their daughter?
She was 27 years old.
Like my son's own, yeah.
So I said, I'm not gonna call them. They're so,
Too
their
close.
grief was too raw.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said last night, I said to her last night, I said, I'm gonna call them tonight and
Yeah.
talk with them.
Right.
And I got a hold of the father, and I didn't get a hold of the father. I couldn't get his home phone number, which I had, was disconnected.
Mhm.
He had a cell phone. The cell phone, his box was filled.
Oh, I
His
hate
message-
that.
oh,
Oh,
I
I
do.
hate to hear that. Yeah, call back again.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, anyway, I never heard it before, but someone came in and it says, if you want to reach this person, just leave your telephone number.
Sure.
And I did, and I didn't expect him to call, but he called me last
He
night.
called you.
And we had a nice talk, and he says his wife is devastated.
Yeah.
And he's devastated, but he says, I can deal with it.
Yeah.
I understand.
She's having a really...
She's having a hard time.
Yeah.
So what I said was, I will send you out. I asked him, I said, do you have any other children? He said, yeah. He said that his daughter her best friend was her kid sister.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, I'll send you out a newsletter special for siblings.
Mhm.
I'll send you out our latest newsletter, and I'll send you out a newsletter that I made up especially to how to take care of yourself.
Do you think they're going to come to a meeting? I hope.
He definitely said he was. He's not sure his wife is ready yet, but
Yeah.
she will come eventually because she wants to come too. So
Yeah, and the sibling too, the friend,
Yeah.
well, the friend that
Yeah.
was like a daughter. This is wonderful. We're going to have to close, but we've been
Yeah.
talking with Ed and Joan Motuza of Milford, who are the co-leaders of Compassionate Friends of Metro West. If you've lost a child, okay, if you're a sibling who's lost your brother or sister, this is a great group, all right? There's no fee. Just
No.
bring yourself. If you don't want to say anything, just sit and listen. What's it, an old saying I've heard many times, don't compare, just try to relate. You know, you have to compare your story with it. Just try to see if you can relate with the feelings that the person is having.
What we have coming up is the second Sunday in December. We ask everybody to light a candle at 7 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And as it burns down in one time zone, it's being relit in another, so it's
So it
going
goes
for
around the
24
world.
hours around the world.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea. And so now, your son has been passed away how long now?
It was
24.
24 years, I'm
24
sorry.
I bet it doesn't seem that long?
No,
No,
He was only 31.
yeah,
Did he know he was ill?
yeah, you know.
not that bad.
But yeah, he didn't know.
He didn't know how
it
bad it
that
was going to
serious.
be.
Right.
So was it a surprise to you all?
Yeah, when they told us, they said it could be a day, a week, a month, a year, and it was exactly 1 week to the day.
1 week.
Yeah.
How did his siblings take it? You have boys, all
Yeah.
boys.
They took it, one of them especially took it, that was still
Youngest.
living at home, took it a lot harder.
Have any of them come to your meeting, Compassionate Friends? They
No,
did.
but they always talk about him.
They all, that's
Oh,
good,
yeah.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, both of you,
Yeah.
for being on.
Mhm.
Again, contact them if you'd like to go to a meeting, they're all local. It's anonymous, I'm sure. They don't
Yes.
talk about other people
No.
when you're not there. I really appreciate your
Yeah.
being here.
We have one saying, at Compassionate Friends.
Yeah.
It's the best organization no one ever heard of.
The best organization no one ever heard of. I had until I saw this wonderful article.
Mhm.
And how did they hear of you, by the way, 50 Plus Advocate?
I have no idea.
No. Oh, what did she say?
How did they know?
I don't know.
They list the writer as Janice Elizabeth Burton.
Yes.
So somebody found you.
Yes.
And
We
then-
do have a memory book too that we have at every meeting if you want to take a page and do something on your child.
What a great idea! You can actually write about your child.
Yes.
Can you put a picture too?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is wonderful. I want to have you back on again. I think that it's important, and I think the funeral parlors out there need to get with the program here. This is something that people, you're in mourning, this is the group they can go to, and it's free. Thank you both
Thank you.
so
You're
much.
welcome.
And we'll see you next time to be my guest.